Hey there, Burgundy freaks. We got something super special for y'all today. We are live from the Grapes Munich wine cellar, my new stomping grounds, and I have the very distinct honor of welcoming one of Burgundy's luminary winemakers, Guillaume d'Angerville, in our humble little wine bar. Thank God the pandemic taught us how to drink again. and after the pandemic, we're allowed to travel. So thank you so much for coming.
One of my first trips out since the pandemic. So.
That's even more of an honor. And not only did you come out, but you brought some spectacular things with you. Yeah. So let's dig in. But now we're talking about nostalgia, traveling again, a little time travel. So one of the first important wines I ever drank was actually a Burgundy. Not only any Burgundy, but it was a Volnay. And it was in about 2003, 2002, so it was in 1998. And it was, I'll never forget, really, a Volnay Premier. And so this was from your father's time.
Yes, my father's time, yeah.
Your first vintage was?
My first vintage was 2003.
Okay.
My father passed away in July 2003, and my first vintage was, I started harvesting like 6 weeks after his funeral. So it was
that's hard.
Thrown in a deep end.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Okay, so I fell in love with Volnay back then, and I fell in love with your wines then, and I'm still in love with them. But there's been some changes.
Yeah, you know, it's something which is always very difficult when you've been fond of your father's own wines for such a long time, throughout my youth, throughout my adult life as well. But of course, you always think that you can put your own mark when you're a new generation. And my own mark was really to try and make the wines a little cleaner and a little more respectful of the terroir, with the idea that biodynamy would help me do this. It would help me make the wines more energetic, more complete, more harmonious, without betraying the style that my father always had, which is making wines which are all in subtlety, in finesse, in elegance. So it's that balance that I was trying to achieve. And of course, biodynamy for me was crucial. It was something that I always wanted to do. And I started the conversion very quickly after I took over the estate. 2005 was starting the strategy about it, and we started the conversion in 2006.
Was there difficulty in the conversion? I know sometimes the vines react differently to these things.
Well, you know, there is the period when you stop giving the vines what they used to get, the medicine they used to get. It's like when you stop drugs, you know, you have a time when it's
withdrawal, shock. Yeah.
And that's the difficult, fragile period. But then afterwards, it's fine. I was bad luck because in 2008 we had a very difficult season, very wet, very, very wet and cold. And so I was in the middle of that conversion then. And that was a tiring, testing period for me. But we went through that, and then you never look back.
Like a phoenix from the ashes of 2008.
Exactly.
Boom.
Exactly.
Well, as far as I can see, it's the same beauty and elegance that I fell in love with. The most delicate of all Burgundies is Volnay. I mean, really, right?
Well, you know, of course, everyone has its own taste, but I would argue certainly that Volnay has an elegance that very few villages of Burgundy have. Some people compare it to Chambol, the same type of elegance, but inside Côte de Beaune, Volnay is a very special village for sure. Yeah.
Well, it's every bit as beautiful today as it was back then, but with a different energy, and well, I think it's fantastic.
So it's still Premier, but instead of 98, it's 18. It's 30 years later.
Fantastic.